Sorry, I thought I heard something. No, that's a cat. This is kind of a creepy story, so that's why I'm a little bit on edge. The Boy with the Golden Hair.
The Catholic Men's Podcast, helping you find good works of literature for the Catholic gentleman.
Welcome back to the Midnight Special, which is a series where I can't sleep, so I sit on the back porch with my Labrador Griffin and read a story for you all. Tonight's story is called The Boy with the Golden Hair, or at least that's what I thought the story was when I heard it as a boy in a sermon by Monsignor Burgrain. And now, 20 years later, I found the corroborating story in this book by Father Winfrid Herbst, but he calls it The Sweet Little Boy. It happened in the rich chapel of an ancestral castle in Germany many, many years ago. It was the feast of Corpus Christi, and High Mass was being celebrated with the Blessed Sacrament exposed when hostile soldiers suddenly burst in through the door, for war was raging in the land. The venerable old chaplain, who was celebrating the Mass, left the altar to meet the advancing soldiers and begged them in God's name to spare the holy house of God. But one of the ruffians straightway stretched him on the floor with a murderous blow. The holy priest died soon after from the ugly gash that had been torn into his head. He died a martyr in defense of the Blessed Sacrament, exposed upon the altar there in a monstrance of purest gold, beset with colored jewels, and with diamonds and pearls and heart-shaped rubies of priceless worth. The ruthless soldiers, it was thought, must have carried this monstrance with them, as well as the diamond-set ciborium in the tabernacle, the costly sanctuary lamp of heavy silver, the 6 tall silver candlesticks, and other sacred utensils pertaining to the service of God. Anyhow, those things were not seen there afterwards. Then the sweet little boy began to appear in the castle halls, a lively boy with long golden hair and beautiful blue eyes, dressed in a long white linen robe that was like the alb of a priest, and, like the alb, was fastened round the waist by an ornamented girdle. His face was sweetly, kind, and gentle, but he never spoke. No one was afraid of the sweet little boy, though for years and years he appeared from time to time in the corridors of that castle, and then mysteriously vanished. No one knew who he was, or why he came, or what he wanted. One of the boys of that noble family, when he met the sweet little boy in the corridor for the first time, asked him bluntly, "Where are you from? What do you want here? What's your name?" But no answer came from the ruby lips. The strangely dressed boy merely raised both his hands and pointed with his right in the direction of a gallery in the hallway that led to the chapel. That was all. "You'll either speak to me or I'll—" And the hot-headed lad placed the plaything he was holding on the windowsill and rolled up his sleeves. Then he turned and simply looked foolish. The sweet little boy had disappeared and melted away in the air. The years passed on. Everybody knew about the sweet little boy, and yet really knew nothing about him. Relatives of the family even used to amuse themselves by using him as a target for their pistols. The only result was that walls were splintered here and there, a mirror broken, and some holes bored through pictures. When the sweet little boy did not simply fade away before the trigger was pulled, the bullet merely passed right through him. At such times, a shade of sadness would pass over his lovely face, but that was all. The years passed on. Spiritists and others tried to solve the mystery of the sweet little boy, all in vain. Then, one time, it was on a Christmas Eve at 10 o'clock, he suddenly appeared to a group of young men gathered together in the dining room of the castle. Speaking slowly and kindly, one of the men asked him, "Tell us the object of your visit, sweet little boy, and why you appear in this house. We are willing to do whatsoever you desire." Did he answer? A gentle smile seemed to illumine the lovely face of the sweet little boy, and his lips seemed to form the one word, "Come." The sweet little boy led them on through mysterious windings that only an old castle can have. In the darkness, his beautiful form was surrounded by a halo of light. They came to a confessional built into the wall. On the inner side, halfway up where the penitent is wont to kneel, there was an ornamentation carved into the wood, a fruit garland supported by 2 angels, in the midst of which was suspended a bunch of grapes. The sweet little boy placed his hand upon the bunch of grapes and straightway disappeared. There, after much pressing, they found a secret door. When the lock snapped back, it opened up, revealing a stone stairway that disappeared into utter darkness below. These men were young and daring. Down the steps they went, lighting the way with only a candle, until they came to another door. Should they open it? They stopped and consulted together. I'm sorry, but there's all sorts of strange noises going on. Let me just check real fast. I think it was a cat, Griffin. Should they open it? They stopped and consulted together. A strange feeling of reverence and awe came over them, as though they were on holy ground. "In God's name," said one of them devoutly, slowly pushing open the heavy door. They stood in a small 6-cornered room, fitted out with shelves of various sizes, and a wondrous sight was revealed to their astonished eyes. In the center, emitting 1,000 brilliant rays in the light of their flickering candle, stood a large golden monstrance, and through its crystal center gleamed the pure white roundness of a sacred host. Near the monstrance stood a large ciborium enveloped in a mantle of silk embroidered with pearls, the cover sparkling with a diamond cross. And, oh, never to be forgotten sight, kneeling before the monstrance and the ciborium, his head resting upon the shelf whereon they stood, with outstretched arms and folded hands, was the mummified form of a boy with long golden hair, dressed in a long white, though now somewhat spotted linen robe, fastened at the waist by a girdle. The sweet little boy! "Look," one of the young men cried as they stood in speechless awe, "something's written here." And this is what they read, roughly written on the board before them. "I, Michael Holtzbauer, altar boy of the castle chapel, carried the monstrance and the ciborium containing the Blessed Sacrament to this hidden room, to save it when the soldiers struck the holy priest down. I found this room by chance and told no one about it. I wanted to hide until the soldiers would leave, but in the darkness I pushed up against the secret door in the confessional, and the lock snapped into place and locked me in. Now I must die, but God be praised that the soldiers did not get the Blessed Sacrament. I will therefore die gladly and without complaints. Pray for me when I am found. A.D. 1627, on the feast of Corpus Christi." The end. And now I'd just like to say a couple words about why I stay up so late sometimes. It's said that when St. Jerome was overcome with temptation, he would stay up late and study. And I'd like to do the same. So if you're ever out there and it's late at night and you're wondering who else has the same temptations that I do, just know that I'm right there with you, brother. And we're fighting together. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you.